Hello and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Togs and All Things Nerdy. As usual, we are your hosts, iPhoto UK and Switch_GN. You'll see this week there's just the two of us. It's been a little bit of a gap since the last one. Don't need to go into too much detail. Obviously, busy lives, events, shoots, Secret Con. So yeah, we took a little bit of a break for probably a little bit longer than we would usually. But we're back this week with just a bit of a general episode. We're going to chat a little bit about TV, movies, things that we've watched and enjoyed, a little bit about any games we're playing. Then we're going to move it over to cosplay events, any recent events, any upcoming events, and then over to a bit of photography related stuff, any projects we've got coming up, any projects we're working on, either jointly or individually. Maybe a little bit about lighting. That's something we've been asked for a little bit on the podcast. And it's something I get asked about a lot. So yeah, we're just going to mix it up a little bit really this week. So, Switch, what have you been watching? Obviously, Daredevil is probably quite up there. Enjoying it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Daredevil, I think I'll jump back to what I've been watching outside of Daredevil quickly, and then I'll get into Daredevil because it's a bigger conversational piece. But so before Born Again came out, Steph and I were going through Daredevils, Defenders, Iron Fist, and stuff like that, and we just got up to Punisher. So we're kind of now back on the Punisher train and watching through season 1 when we finished that one. So now we're going to be jumping on to season 2 in a bit as well. But obviously watching Born Again, and you know what? It started off so strong. So strong.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree. I mean, I didn't watch, I haven't watched sort of Daredevil TV show. I watched, what was the one you mentioned that's got them all in?
Defenders.
Yeah, I watched that, God, ages ago when it was first out. Like, absolutely loved it. After that, you know, a lot of stuff with like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, absolutely loved them. But I haven't done the Punisher and I haven't done Daredevil.
Highly recommend them, especially Daredevil and Punisher for me were the stronger shows. Don't get me wrong, Jessica Jones season 1 was incredible as well. It was very different. But for me, for the brutality and the gore side of it, and that, I found Punisher.
Give it a go.
And
I love Jessica Jones more for the whole psychological side of things. I love my action stuff, love my violent movies and action and all the rest of it. But what really grips me is sort of if there's either a good mix of psychological stuff or if it's like full on sort of psychological. There's a lot, you know, about sort of mental abuse in it. And it just gripped me. As a show, it just gripped me.
I think that's what I actually quite like about Daredevil, the Netflix side of it all was Jessica Jones was definitely more the psychological side of it, like heavily psychological. But I feel like the Daredevil element still had that psychological because he's battling between being Matt Murdock and Daredevil. And he's constantly trying to do this, and we're seeing it again with
I was going to say that's something I am picking up on massively in Born Again, and I'm finding Born Again is it's what I would call a slow burner, but it at the same time it's a slow burner that still grips you. It still keeps you interested. It just keeps you wanting more. From a whole sort of visual cinematic vibe, it looks absolutely spectacular. Scenes, the way it's filmed, the lighting, they absolutely nailed it for me. And each episode is just getting better and better.
I want to go back to the first episode of Born Again. I think I messaged you within the first 5 to 10 minutes, and I went, I have an idea. I had to even pause the show because I had to type it in the phone. Go, I have ideas already. So me and Darren have this thing where if we're watching stuff like Arcane or stuff that we're interested in, sometimes one of us will message the other one saying, all right, I've just had an idea. I'm watching this. And it's like, okay, how far? Oh, I'm this far. And then it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're on about. They really need to detail what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, they will be saying, "I'll talk about the Ballet that links to this," but yeah, that opener for me, and we're going to go in a bit of a spoiler territory. It has been out now for 4 weeks. We're on.
That's long enough, I think.
Yeah, so obviously we've had the 4th episode this week, and we'll if you don't want spoilers, jump ahead for however long. If we're still talking about spoilers, carry on. But I called it. I remember we were having that chat with Troy in the last episode, and I said there will be a death. I predicted it would be Karen that died. And then I was sat there thinking, this is the moment it's going to happen. And I was like, oh shit, no, it's Foggy. So I got the idea, the concept that someone was going to get killed, and Matt was basically going to be like, right, yeah, I'm no longer Daredevil. So I kind of called that from that point. I was wrong on who would die. But they're talking about rumors that actually Foggy's not dead. And that's rumors. That's just rumors of what I've heard. Because apparently he's slated to return in season 2. So that could just be in flashbacks. Could be anything, but I just thought, oh, that could be a nice little spin if Foggy actually is not dead. That could definitely change the narrative of the way that it's going.
Yeah.
But that definitely got me, and I was just like, you kind of rooting for Matt to just end their Bullseye's existence at that point afterwards. You're just like, oh, no, you just took out Foggy. That's not cool, dude.
No.
But no, I just love
that. Was like a hell of a way to start the show.
It really was.
And I'm really loving the whole sort of psychological, mental aspect where he is constantly wrestling with himself and almost fighting with himself not to become Daredevil again. And we all know it's going to happen. We can see it's going to happen. We saw that little glimpse of it in one of the episodes.
End of season.
He didn't on the suit, but he just seamlessly jumped into some action to defend himself, and obviously some stuff in the latest episode. I won't go into detail on that for anyone that hasn't seen it, because it was only out a couple of days ago. But yeah, it's coming, I think. And yeah,
that's going to be the next really one or the one after.
Yes, yeah,
I reckon. We'll see him back in what either the next 2, because next week's one, I believe, is 2 episodes being released.
Right, okay.
So I reckon there's something, because they've done 2 episodes. There's obviously something going to happen in them 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and it's like it's going to be big. It's going to be. I reckon that's when we're going to see more of Matt basically becoming Daredevil, because there is a scene in the trailer that he has like the red ski mask on in a suit. So it's going to happen sooner than later. He's teetering that line, especially the end of this week's episode, the way that they ended that with where Matt was doing.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic, which was brilliant. It's something different I hadn't seen live action Daredevil that do with the billy clubs and stuff like that. So I was very much like, oh yeah, this is good. And then the funny thing is, like, Steph was like, oh, that's a good ending. And all of a sudden it goes to the train, through to the train platform. It's not over yet.
Yeah, it's good. Tell you something else I'm really enjoying at the minute is Reacher.
I still haven't watched it just because we're on the Punisher train, and I want to watch Reacher.
Yeah. Well, I won't give you any spoilers, but you are in for a treat. You know, again, it's like the current series of Born Again, where it's a slow burner. My other half struggled to get into this season a little bit at the start because it was a little bit slow. But for me, I could see the whole, again, the psychological aspect of it. And yeah, boy, you are in for a treat. You see Reacher a little bit more vulnerable in this season. I think it's fair to say, without too much of a spoiler. And that's good to see.
So it sounds a bit like he's taking it back a little bit back to season 1 again, because season 2 was team based, and it was still a good season. Like, season 2 was still a good season. I love season 2.
This one, contrary to what I read, is still quite team based. Although a smaller team, you see 1 or 2 members from earlier teams come into it, particularly later on in the season. I'm not sure how many episodes there are left now. We're getting quite near to the end of the season, I think. But yeah, you are in for a real real treat.
I think there's a part of me is why I haven't watched it, is because I know when I start Reacher, I'm going to be like, I can't watch this weekly. It's going to have to be a binge for me to watch.
This is my problem at the moment. Is I'm sort of battling between watching it weekly or waiting. But I don't want to wait and then see spoilers. So, yeah, it's worth it. That's all.
So it looks like there's one episode left. So there's 8 episodes in total. 7 have aired.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So 27th, they're saying, is the last episode. So I mean, we're coming to the end of season 1 of Punisher, so I might make that switch to Reacher now and go over. But I think one of the things I did hear, and it's just jumping a little bit back, but it's going Punisher vibes. So John Webb gonna butcher, and Troy will probably be cursing me. Was it John Bernthal plays the Punisher?
Yeah.
So he put out a statement, because originally when they did Daredevil Born Again, in the original script, he wasn't on board, and he was like, "No, I don't think Punisher would fit in this. This is not quite where I want it." So when they obviously went back, and obviously that guy that plays Kingpin, and obviously Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil, obviously they were instrumental with the rewrites for Born Again. And when they did the rewrites, that's when they brought in Fisk, because they wanted to make it more lawyer based, a bit more like Suits, I guess, or a bit like She-Hulk or something like that. So I'm glad they did the rewrite, and I'm glad that they made it change and became more Daredevil. But anyway, back to Punisher. He's obviously got his special next year coming out. I think it's like an hour and a half special. Based off of the small, without trying to give spoilers away, everyone knows he's in Born Again. Obviously, we see him in the latest episode, and I tell you what, for me, that interaction was probably some of the best interaction in that episode.
Yeah.
And that chemistry and that whole thing between him and Charlie Cox is just, even if that's all we get.
They were not, they were, you could see that they were both battling with themselves, but calling each other out for it at the same time. It was just really, really, there wasn't any sort of physical activity as such, maybe one little exchange, but yeah, it's just, I agree. It was a great scene.
It was a powerful scene, because I think for them, they're such extreme characters that I think that they're the only two. Well, there's probably some others like Elektra and stuff, but in this story, I feel like Punisher's the only one that really can talk to Matt in that sense and not get beat down, because they're both we see him in season 2 of Daredevil Netflix version. They go toe to toe quite often, and we know that they're very good with each other and whatnot. So I just love the relationship that they had, and so that was some of the best bits for me, being a Punisher fan as well. So that the fact that he's back, and he's actually agreed to come back, and he's also agreed to do his special, when they've already turned around and said, this special is going to be brutal, it's going to be gory, it's going to be R-rated. I'm like, I am down for this. Like, Punisher has to be brutal, in my opinion, and I can't wait. That's something that next year I'm looking forward to, along with Born Again season 2. There's quite a few reasons why I'm looking forward to Born Again season 2, but we'll get into that in a little bit, and stuff like that. So yeah, brilliant show. So I haven't really watched anything else at the moment. The only thing I've really seen at the moment is, we touched on it briefly in the last episode, was Captain America just before MegaCon.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that at the cinema, unfortunately. But I watched it last weekend on streaming. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've never been like, Captain America movies have never really been like sort of massively high up on my list, but I've always enjoyed them. They always kept me gripped. They always kept me off my phone. If I'm not wanting to pick up my phone during a movie and check socials and messages, then the movie's doing a good job, in my opinion. The visuals were good. Yeah, I'm a huge Harrison Ford fan. Yeah. So, I was really, really looking forward to seen his role, and I think he played it really, really well. And I think, obviously, reading up on his role, he's always been a massive Marvel fan, has always wanted to be in a Marvel movie for many, many years. So for him to get the opportunity to play a role in a Marvel film, I think was fantastic, especially at his age.
I think he just wanted to go have fun with it. I think he wanted to just at some point play a role.
And I think it was a really nice setup for Thunderbolts. There's a lot of aspects of the movie that seem to be really setting up that next film very, very well.
And as we're talking about Born Again, we will be talking about spoilers because it has now been out for long enough. So again, we will talk spoilers in this film. And this point about this film, here's one thing, did you notice, and this is something that I didn't quite notice until after, and I was listening to an interview with the director of Born Again, and part of what he was saying is someone had noticed the color shifting throughout the film.
It's not something that I consciously noticed at the time, but it is something that I'm aware of that was happening, but not. It was done so subtly that I wasn't it wasn't jolting. One of the things when they released the Continental from series from the John Wick franchise, I watched the first episode and I've not watched any more since because the way the color was shifting in that and some of the color tone and color grading, it was just really jolting. It just wasn't smooth. It wasn't seamless. But in Brave New World, yes, there were shifts, but you weren't sort of actively conscious at the time.
Apparently, they did something with the, I want to say, blues within the film. So we start off the film and it's very sort of more grey, dim tones, and then as the film goes on, it becomes more and more colourful. Especially when we get to the end sequence where the Hulk is out, he's popping out red.
The red were really,
he's in with the trees. They've got the pinks, and then Sam with his, it almost the way that they were describing it is it's the fact that at this point, even at the start of the film, Sam still doesn't believe that he should be Captain America. He is still struggling with the concept of him being Cap. He
doesn't feel worthy. He
doesn't feel exactly. So the purpose of the color, so the director was saying the purpose of the colored shift gradually throughout the film was it's meant to tie in with Sam becoming more comfortable with being. I am Captain America. I am not Steve Rogers. I don't need the super serum. I am good enough to carry the shield and so on. And I said this last time. I said I think Anthony Mackie played Cap really well. I was worried when I heard about it at first because I am a Chris Evans Captain America fan.
Yeah, same.
And there's nothing wrong with Anthony Mackie. I think Anthony Mackie's a good actor. Whatever he's been in, he's normally really good. So it wasn't him as an actor, but I think I'm just such a diehard Chris Evans fan.
Whole idea the role. For me, it was getting to grips with Captain America not being a person or an individual. Captain America is
symbol,
a job, and a symbol. Much the same, in much the same way that Mad Max. That's very much the same ethos that Mad Max is not a single person. It is an idea. It's a it's
a bit like Bond in a way. It's an identity. Yeah. It's not a singular person.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so. I think Anthony Mackie played Captain America so well, and he brought his own flair to it. He brought the whole Falcon-esque to it as well. And I thought, do you know what? He is definitely someone I can, going forward in the Marvel universe. He's definitely a character that I will be like, I can get 100% behind it because he does play it really well. He's not trying to also play the role like Chris Evans. He's still the Falcon, and he's still playing the character how he's always been. He's not trying to be Chris Evans, and which is what I loved about it.
Yes, exactly.
There was some controversy around the new Falcon, and I don't necessarily agree because they were saying that people were saying they didn't like his character because he was too hyper, he was too energetic, he was too fanboy-esque. And I said, I get what they're saying, But also, if you're looking at it from a story structure point of view, he is a fan. He has been a fan. And he wants to work with him. And he's excited that he gets to work with the Falcon, who's now Captain America. He gets to take on that mantle of being the Falcon. It's like Peter Parker when he in Spider-Man when he's working with Tony, in Civil War, he's this excited kid, he's doing this. And it's exactly the same principle with the new Falcon. He's just excited that he's looked up to these people for so long in this world to now be a part of it. He's just excited to be there until obviously he gets knocked down, and he goes into the confidence crisis mode, which is then where Sam comes in. But there was something that me and Troy obviously mentioned in the last one, and that was there's that one scene in Brave New Worlds that I thought if they didn't have it, it wouldn't ruin the film, but it wouldn't make it as good. You guess which scene I'm on about. And that's so. If anyone's seen it now, for me, it wasn't a critical scene, but it was also very critical. It was when we saw Bucky come into it in the hospital. And for me, it's something like such a small part of the film and small part of the story, but because of what they've built up over the years between Sam and Bucky, it was good that he had that little cameo, and I think it was just the right amount of time for him to be in it without taking anything from Sam. But we could then see that friendship, that his mate took some time out of his day to come and check out on his friend. And for me, that was I loved it. And I thought if they didn't have Bucky in it for at least a scene, they would have missed out on something.
Yeah, I think so too. I totally agree. I mean, I've gone like weeks and weeks without really watching much new, and then last weekend I was just like bang, bang, bang. So another one that I caught up on last weekend, which was a Netflix film, was one called The Killer. And it's a John Woo film. I'm a huge fan of John Woo, always have been. And this was a little bit different for John Woo because he tends to do, quite a lot of sort of full-on action. And there was definitely action in that. I'm just trying to find I can't remember.
I'm just trying to find it myself here.
Can't remember the name of the.
Oh yeah, I know what you're about now.
Go. I can't remember the name of the main star. Natalie Emmanuel. She's like the main character. Yeah. She's like an assassin basically. And there's whilst there's probably not much sort of new or groundbreaking in the film, she plays the role really, really well. The action is where it needs to be. There's a lot of psychological stuff, some twists and turns as well. And again, you see someone sort of battling with, she's, don't want too many spoilers, but, she's tasked to do a job and she didn't quite finish the job. There was someone that she couldn't quite finish off, for whatever reason. And she battles with herself to, whether she should, whether she shouldn't, and why, and what for. And yeah, it's just a really good movie. It really is one that's worth a watch.
So it's definitely a high recommendation if you're looking for a film to watch on Netflix.
Absolutely. Then. I mean, I would recommend anything from John Woo anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, not a bad shout.
But the guy just hits the spot. I'm just trying to go back. Some of his favourite ones from Hard Boiled, obviously, is one of his most famous. Trying to find some of the ones that I've watched on a regular basis.
Oh, he did Face Off as well, didn't he?
I didn't realise he did Mission Impossible too. That's interesting.
He actually did Face Off as well with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
He did, yeah. He did indeed.
And I was flicking through his portfolio, so now I'm just trying to figure out what. Okay, yeah. Paycheck, MI2.
Yeah. I mean, going sort of right back to the late 90s, there was one called The Killer, which was a very Chow Yun-fat, which again, I love anything with Chow Yun-fat. He's fantastic. hard-boiled, hard target, Broken Arrow, sort of
See,
very.
Broken Arrow, I loved Broken
Oh,
Arrow when that came out.
yeah,
I watch it still this day. Yeah, okay, it might class as a bit cheesy now, but I tell you what, I love that film. I absolutely love that film.
Yeah, he's just great. He's not done anything like for a little while.
Yeah.
Not really done a huge amount of films in the sort of mid to late 2000s, but so it's good to see he's sort of back. The other one for me that I watched over the weekend was The Electric State.
And this is the one with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, so I didn't really know much about this until I saw a trailer for it at the cinema a little while back. And it just blew me away at the cinema. It was, anyone that knows me, I'm very much down with the whole cyberpunk, dystopian, futuristic, lost world kind of vibe. And this hit the spot, but it hit the spot in a different way. It wasn't just like full on action. It literally gripped me throughout. There's been a little bit of criticism of this movie.
Yeah.
I personally loved it from start to finish. There were parts in the movie that genuinely moved me. And for a film of this nature, that's quite unusual. It's an Anthony Russo and Joe Russo movie. Again, both two directors that are fantastic.
And for those that don't know, they are probably some of the best directors that worked at Marvel, because they did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and they're also doing the next two Avengers films.
Yeah, absolutely. They've also done some really great series, like recent ones like The Citadel. They also did a really great movie that I love a couple of years ago called The Grey Man.
Yes, I was going to say that. That was, again, that had a lot of controversy around it as well, but I actually really enjoyed that film.
I loved it. Really, really great movie. Obviously, it's got Ryan Gosling, it's got Chris Evans, it's got Ana de Armas. So, three people right at the top there that I absolutely love.
I think I love that film. One of them parts that I loved about that film, and I think it was Chris Evans, but he was, as we've never really seen him before, he was as a villain, and he played it. So it was a different shake-up twist from we've all seen him as Cap. There's this humble thing, and he's always played similar characters in rom-coms and whatnot. And then the Grey Man, he becomes this villain, and he plays it so well. Yeah,
absolutely. Electric State, really loved it. I know Millie Bobby Brown, some people love her, some people hate her. I think even ourselves had a conversation recently that even stated she was overhyped. In some respects, she actually does a really good job in this role. And I know she's come under a lot of flack recently, and she put out that statement on socials. Absolute props to her for doing that, because, people need to realize that she is a fucking woman now. She was a child when she came into the industry. She's now a woman. I had
respect for her for having that statement out there when it came out. I was actually like, good for you, go for it.
She's 21 years old now. Do you know what I mean? Or near as damn it. So, she is 21 years old. Yeah, February 2004. She shouldn't have to put out that statement. People are like expecting her to still be a fucking child, and it's just like.
I know we mentioned about not seeing the hype in her. I still, like I said at the time, I still think she is an entertaining actor. I think it's like once she has the opportunity to do something really good, she will do it. And I think she's still trying to find that her own. I think she's trying to also push herself out of that trying not to be typecast in anything. I think she wants to find stuff that she can do that.
I mean, obviously, she'd done things before Stranger Things, as a child, but the thing that launched her obviously was Stranger Things, which I absolutely love Stranger Things. Is she the best actor in that series? Probably not, but without her there would be no, she's the glue that holds that that series together.
Do we look at it in
I
a different way, though? Do we look at it and say, when she was doing that she was a child? Now, would we look at her now and compare her exactly the same way as she was back then? Because obviously she's...
Well, I think the good thing about Stranger Things is all the characters have evolved and grown up within the show, as it's progressed through the years within the towns and what's happening, which is great. I love how Netflix have done that. So, it'd be interesting to see the last series.
That series.
I actually loved her in Enola Holmes as well. I really liked that film.
Apparently she's about to start filming the third one. Ooh. Apparently that's what... So I was listening to an interview with her and they said, what's your next project? And she's like, next week I'm going to start Enola Holmes 3.
Controversially, I also quite liked Damsel.
I haven't finished Damsel. Steph said it was really good. I was going to start it. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. It's not groundbreaking again, but it's an entertaining film.
That's the thing, is we don't need a film to always be groundbreaking and expanding on becoming better and better. If you can have a film where you're entertained and sit there, then why not? That's all that matters.
Yeah. And then I finished off my weekend last weekend. It was late, wanted to watch another movie with Desperado, 1995, Antonio Banderas, directed by Robert Rodriguez. Another absolutely fantastic director. It's got Salma Hayek in as well. This was one of my favourite films from the 90s, the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
Really like full-on action. But again, there's a lot of sort of gaps. There's some psychological bits, some story. Is it a bit of a cheesy film? Yes. But just a fantastic film. And Robert Rodriguez is a great director. He directed the series From Dusk Till Dawn. What else has he done? Some of the Sin City stuff as well. So Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, Predators. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which was follow on from Desperado.
I remember that one. I do remember that one more than Desperado. I do remember watching that.
He also did the From Dusk Till Dawn movies. So yeah, he's done some great stuff. Just a great movie, and it's got a cameo from Quentin Tarantino in it as well, which is quite amusing.
Always amusing for that one.
Yeah,
I think so. So I think I haven't really watched many films, but I've been jumping back in an old catalogue of films, and it's gonna sound. I'm gonna basically admit to being I don't say pansy, but I occasionally do love a good rom-com, and
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. So I was feeling a bit under the weather last week mentally, and Steph was like, "Oh, should we watch a film?" And just get cozy. And so we're flicking through Sky, and I said, "What do you fancy?" She's like, "I don't know, something funny I haven't seen." I said, "Well, looking through Sky and saw a movie. It was Crazy Rich Asians."
Yeah, I've not actually seen that.
It's a typical rom-com, but it's it's one of them. It's just like, all right. It was funny. It's obviously it's got the girl that was in Shang-Chi, the best friend who plays Katie, crazy little girl. She's in it, and also I think one of the other girls is also another Marvel person. It was one of the leads from Eternals, and the main lead guy was in the film The Gentleman. Was I can't remember his name in The Gentleman, but that's a brilliant film as well. No one's ever seen that by Guy Ritchie. His name literally just escaped me then. I love Guy Ritchie films. I love them. But again, it was an easy watch and nice bits. But then I also sat and watched another film I haven't seen in ages. It was called, and I think the reason I sat and watched it is because I think me and Steph went to watch Swan Lake, the ballet, last week, which was really good. It was really good. It was Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake over in Southampton. It was the first time I've ever seen it. Steph's seen it multiple times. I tell you what, it was It was a lot of fun. It was really good. It was
Oh,
gripping. It
no.
was remarkable what they have to do for it. And
God, yeah.
but I looked at this like, so I've been to the ballet a few times and whatnot. I've only ever done it I've only been to the ballet with Steph. But I started looking at it in a very different light when I went to see Swan Lake. And I went from it from a creative photography point of view because they did some really interesting stuff with shadows and reflections and lighting to really sort of tell sort of that
Story.
the story from like, you know, the ghosts and shadows and stuff like that. And it was really fascinating. So I sat there and was like, okay, this is, you know, from a visual perspective, from a creative perspective, I'm actually really digging this. I'm really loving this. I'm really liking how they're playing with light to expand on a character or tell a story in the background whilst the actors, you know, the performers in front. So it was really interesting. Anyway, which reminded me, because in the brochure, there's a musical coming in Southampton, Kinky Boots, and they made a film years ago.
Yeah.
Kinky Boots. I love this film. This film is just, it's just a simple film to watch, and it's just really sort of lighthearted and makes you feel good by the time you actually end watching it. And I think I went through a lot of feel good moments of films the last couple of weeks to get myself out of a slump.
Yeah, that's fair.
So sometimes you'll catch me watching these feel good movies over the times, and I think I've kind of jump back in that rhythm.
Like, there's I don't mind sort of rom-com type, you know, a couple that I come back to quite regularly. Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis. It's just a fun movie. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, again, another
brilliant one as well.
Another Mila Kunis. I mean, I love Mila Kunis. She's great.
Oh, she's a phenomenal actress, yeah.
But yeah, so
there's another one that's quite recent that I really like, and we've watched it a few times. And the first time me and Steph watched it, we absolutely pissed ourselves laughing the whole way through. It is such a hilarious film, and it is, once my phone decides to load, it's called Anyone But You. Came out last year, I believe.
Oh, okay, not seen that one.
So Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell.
Oh, I've heard of it, yeah, because obviously Sweeney, everyone's going fucking nuts for it at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
And do you know what? That film, I could not if you want a feel-good film from like a rom-com, I tell you what, with that film a watch, it is hilarious. And it's your typical rom-com, but brilliant film. Absolutely brilliant. Nice. And then I think the other one that we really loved last year was Fall Guy. With Millie.
Oh yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm a massive Ryan Gosling fan anyway.
But that film is, again, it's outstandingly fun.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like it was quite a touching, bittersweet moment for me to watch that film, because The Fall Guy was always a series that I used to watch with my dad. He used to love it. I used to love it. So there was some really nice nods to the original series, especially with the music. So some of it was like quite emotional for me to watch, but it was a fantastic film. Really, really good. Just fun, enjoyable. You know, you didn't have to think too hard for it.
Yeah. Sometimes a film like that is really good to have, where you don't have to think. You can just sit back, get lost in a film and just feel good. I absolutely love that film as well. As probably one of my best films from last year was The Fall Guy. And I sat and watched it in cinema, and I just loved it.
I didn't see it at the cinema. I watched it sort of when it came to streaming. It came to streaming quite quickly, but
it did.
Yeah, loved it. They dropped the new trailer for Ballerina.
I was going to say that. I saw that this afternoon.
Yeah, so Lionsgate did this whole sort of like almost like a launch event for the new trailer. It was a bit weird. I was at work, kind of sat in on it for a bit. It was really weird. Like, it said, 2:00 it's going to launch. Everyone was sat there on fucking YouTube waiting for it to launch. Then all of a sudden it came up with all these like different things, and people had to join in. It was interactive, and they had to type things into the chat, and people could win stuff. It was different. It was fun. They really fucking dragged it out for such a short trailer.
They probably had some technical issues or something like us.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got annoyed with it, but it was a bit of fun. You know, the new trailer looks great. I am really, really looking forward to it.
Really hyped for it.
Tell you what, I don't make a big deal about premieres and things like that. You know, lots of people in the cosplay community go to premieres quite regularly. But if there was one premiere, if I could just the opportunity to go to the UK premiere in June, I would absolutely jump on that. So
if anyone from Lionsgate, if you're listening,
huge fan. If you can hook up me and my boy Terry, Project Cosplay UK, who is an awesome John Wick cosplayer, if you can hook us up with a couple of tickets to the premiere, we would be very much appreciated.
And if you're hooking up them, hook me up with one as well. We'll happily come to the red carpet and do some interviews for you as well.
Yeah, do some podcast stuff. More than happy to do that. But yeah, jokes aside, I would just love to. I mean, you know, John Wick, Keanu Reeves, absolutely fantastic. Ana de Armas, I am a huge fucking fan. Like, I don't think I've ever seen her in anything bad. I've not watched Marilyn Monroe. People say that it's a bit controversial, that one. I've not actually seen that one, but anything I've actually seen her in, she's absolutely smashed it. And I think her role in Bond was a nice setup to her moving into an action film. So yeah, really, really looking forward to this. I really hope it doesn't disappoint, and I don't think it will.
Don't think it will, because it's the same.
You know, in a habit of like disappointing. There's been some, you know, stuff floating around about reshoots and why they did it. And
the thing is, we need to stop thinking of reshoots as a bad thing.
Loads of films. If you historically, if you look back, tons of films have had reshoots, and to me, that is just the director and the producer wanting to make sure that it is right, that it is true to their vision.
It's also they could have thought of something else when they were in the editing process. They could have thought about something else and go, do you know what this film really needs? It needs this element. Let's go back to a reshoot.
That doesn't work. The continuity doesn't flow. Let's go back and reshoot it. And if a movie's got the budget to do that, then why the fuck not?
Because you're not always, it's like we know as photographers, we're never always necessarily going to get that perfect shot in that first shot. So if a film company wants to do reshoots, then there's not necessarily mean it's bad.
Why not?
Exactly. And it's like, you look at, this could be very controversial topic, but it's like, you look at Cyberpunk, when that first came out, they delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yeah.
Okay, it still didn't launch brilliantly, but we look at it now as a complete game, and it's a brilliant game.
Yeah,
because they took the time they needed to do it. And I think if they hadn't released when they did and they gave it a little bit longer,
then it would have been perfect. And I think
it would have been perfect. But
if they hadn't managed to, the slightly annoying thing, if they hadn't managed to get it right earlier on, we would have had the second lot of DLC, which was based around the moon. So we would have had, I was reading about this recently, they've got a whole other DLC plan where you actually went, it was based on the moon. It's referenced a lot in the game and the story.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also referenced in Edge Runners as well. You know, some screenshots and images were leaked.
Also depends on the ending you get. You actually end up on the moon, depending on the ending you get.
Yeah, it would have been spectacular if they'd have managed to get that done. But I get why their focus is on the new Project Orion. So hopefully, you know, that might feature in that, perhaps. Who knows?
But anyway, I think another film that I'm looking forward to. It might not be something that people are like really hyped for. The Accountant 2.
Oh, okay.
See, I was very late to The Accountant. Like, I watched The Accountant years and years ago, and it's with Ben Affleck. He plays a character that has got he's got a mental disorder. He's basically got a disorder.
Yeah. But
he's basically a hitman, and
yeah, it's been a lot of years since I've seen it, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen it in years, but I know that there's a sequel coming out in the next few months, and it's got John Bernthal in it as well, along with Ben Affleck. And the stuff that I've seen for it, it looks to a point where it looks interesting, because I never saw the first one when it all came out. I kind of was like, oh, this is on, let's just watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, you know what? it was a good action thriller style film. It was gripping, it was good, and it told a very good story. So the fact they got a second one years and years later,
Yeah.
I like Ben Affleck. Ben
I
Affleck's
like that.
he's a good
Yeah,
bet
I'm
when
just
it comes to a
watching the
film.
trailer actually as we're watching this, and it looks great actually.
It looks really good, and it gives me some form of like John Wick vibes in a way. I mean, it's very probably like early John Wick vibes a little bit from the first one, and the second one looks just good, and it's something that I would definitely be interested in.
Well, it's very sort of teal and orange.
Yeah, but very good, nice grade into it, nice on the eye sort of thing. It's really interesting.
But nice.
That's something that I'm looking out for at the moment as well, from a film point. But yeah, it's. But
Good.
I need to look this up again. But there's a film that you can never find streaming services anywhere or buy on disc unless you go on eBay and you buy the original ones from someone, and it normally costs a lot. So it's a Kevin Smith film. It stars Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and a whole host of others. Dogma.
Yeah.
Dogma.
Yeah.
That film is. It was made as an indie film because the budget is really small. It's got a stellar cast in it, and apparently the rights for that film come up for sale this year, and Kevin Smith is all over buying the rights so he can re-release the film, because at the moment you cannot find that film anywhere unless you already own a copy of it. You cannot buy it, you cannot get it on streaming, you cannot buy it, easily download it, because who was the director that was in a lot of trouble? There's quite a few of them, but there's a director that got really in a lot of trouble, and essentially he holds the rights and refuses to allow it out. I remember who the director was. Weinstein? Harvey Weinstein had the rights for it, and the rights come available this year. So Kevin Smith came out a while ago saying as soon as the rights come out, he's already got like scripts written up for a sequel for Dogma, and
you can actually buy it on Amazon.
Oh, so the rights must be up again now then, because you couldn't able to buy it
on Blu-ray. It's not on Blu-ray, but you can buy it on DVD.
Yeah, because they never made it on Blu-ray because it was.
I don't know whether this is from.
It's probably a third party.
The cover is different, so it looks like it might be either a re-release or maybe from the US or something. But
yeah,
it's expensive. It's like 15 quid or 20 quid. So it's.
So essentially, this year we could be seeing a re-emergence for cult classic Dogma. If you've never seen it and you ever see it come up on streaming, 100% recommend it to anybody. It's such a great film, to the point that the original cast have all come out and said, yeah, if there's a second one, we're in on it. I had the legendary Alan Rickman in it as well.
It does, yeah.
Obviously, he won't be back, but
no,
if he does, then that would be incredible. But the things that happen. On that note, what we got? Not Alan Rickman, no, but any games been up to lately? Any gaming?
No, I've been. I've sort of gone back to playing Red Dead 2. I bought it for my Asus ROG Ally, just so I can sort of play that handheld or when I'm out and about. And then that kind of like, I was just playing a little bit here and there, and then I thought, well, I've got the Ultimate Edition on Xbox, so I've been playing it on that and started a new playthrough. I'm using it as a bit of a de-stress game, to be honest, and I'm just doing a obviously, depending on anyone that knows a game, depending on your actions and the things that you do throughout the game, depends on what type of character. My current character is very much towards the sort of ruthless end. Normally I go for quite an empathetic character build, but this time I've just gone like, fuck it. People that ask for help, no. You pressure me, I shoot you. I'm just like going for a real asshole Arthur, to be fair. So it's good fun.
I think I've been a bit the same. I think I've been having a bit of gaming here and there for a bit of de-stress, especially on stressful days, or headspace a bit out there. I've been playing My main game that I play a lot of is Destiny 2. And play it with friends as well as I play it with staff. But I've kind of put it in one side because I wasn't focusing. I wasn't really engaging with it. And ever since we had the conversation on the last one about Gears of War, I was just like, I really want to play it, like replay Gears of War. But I'm a PlayStation console player. I have a PC, so I thought, and a while ago, someone was like, "Oh, what about Xbox Pass?" And I was just like, "Have a look at it." So I had a look at it. I thought, do you know what? It's got all the Gears on there. It's got a load of other stuff I'd love to play. So I thought, solid, let's just do it. Let's go, because I want a good story game, and now I'm playing back through the Gears games, and I tell you what, they hold up. They really do. I mean, I know they've had some enhancements done to them to be allowing them to work, like, to really look good on PC, but I tell you what, them games hold up, and the story is, even replaying it, the story is just still as phenomenal. It's still good. It's challenging, and it's just peak. Just really is a peak game.
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying it, and it's just nice. I just sit there and I go, right, okay, I'm gonna have a little play, and I go, okay, I've hit a checkpoint. I was like, okay, that'll be enough now. I'll log off and I'll play more another time. I don't feel like I need to rush through the story and get it finished. And it's, I tell you what, it's just nice. I did one when, you know how you have to push the doors open sometimes, and one of the enemies jumps at the door, and I shit myself. I was just like, Jesus Christ! I didn't say it out loud, and I just like had to press pause, and my heart started like palp. Was like, nah, I need a little bit here. I need this before I head for this. So now I'm scared to go for any big doors.
That's fair. My sort of regular weekly game was Forza Horizon 5. You know, I love my driving games, and Forza Horizon is great. You know, you drive around sort of real world roads. But yeah, it's gone, the weekly challenges and the things you can get have gone really off the ball. It's just starting to regurgitate shit now. Yeah. So I've actually not touched it for a few weeks. I don't know whether I have a feeling they might be concentrating on a new one. They've not released anything yet, and I think they really might be.
The rumor was that was coming to all platforms and not just.
Yeah, it is. It is. So they're about to release
the Forza 4
or something to PlayStation.
Yeah.
And the same with 4 as well, I think, or they've stopped updating the service for that. But so that should be good. Yeah, and I think they're working on 6, personally. I hope they are.
I think they're working on 6 and making it compatible across the board, I reckon.
Yeah.
But that'd be good.
But yeah, I'm not playing anything else new.
I think so. We'll move on, I think, from this point. I think we should move on to a little bit of some less
cosplay stuff.
So we'll look more conventions, talks, cosplay, project.
Yeah.
So let's start. I think we should start with Magna. Let's start with some Secret Con bits.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Give our little bit of a feedback from our experience and our thoughts.
I mean, I'm always going to be biased to a degree because it's my event, along with the team, obviously. It's not just me. There is more of us. You know, we've got a fantastic team. It's 4 directors, a couple of contractors we have on board as well. And then, of course, amazing team of volunteers that work all the events. So I wanted to start really by saying a massive thank you to the whole team, the rest of the directors, all the volunteers, Rob and Nat, our 2 contractors. They all do a fantastic job. They help us to run the events as seamlessly as we can. Magna was a challenge. Obviously, most of you will know that we were originally booked to do it last September. We postponed because of Insomnia dates that announced after we launched that date. So we changed the date. Then Insomnia, unfortunately, closed their doors. So we kept it to March. It was a really fun event. Obviously, it was our second time there. It was our first time doing a full weekend and also the after party. This venue, I'll be careful what I say here, is a huge financial risk for us because of the cost involved. But so many people wanted the venue back, so we said, well, let's do it, and let's do it for a weekend. We did. And we were nervous. It was a big financial risk. It's a huge cost venue. It's a huge venue. But we did it. We pulled it off. Not without issue. It was bloody cold. I'll say that.
Did they put the heating on or not?
There is no heat in it.
I swear there's heating in there.
Well, there is.
In the main areas.
There's some old pipe heating in Faces of Steel. There's some old. You can see it just up if you go to Faces of Steel, just up to your left. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but I believe it doesn't.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the building, it's just like a huge tin factory. And it was cold. It was the start of March. Which
even though we had nice weather, it was.
We've had great weather in March.
Beautiful weather.
Had a really cold spell.
It did turn out to be a point that I think you have to go outside to warm up because outside was warmer. But like we were saying, we're in a big metal structure,
which is a shame.
Metal gets cold.
It's a shame, but that is beyond our control. Unfortunately, I wish we could control the weather. It'd be fantastic.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Obviously, a lot of people just use the canteen to get warm, and it is a shame. I think in hindsight, we probably wouldn't do it in March again. But saying that, people seem to still have a great time. Some of the images that I'm seeing coming from that event are just blowing me away.
It definitely feels
the work that the cosplayers have put in, the work that the photographers have put in. Last time people really struggled with the lighting there. This time I think some people still did. Some people embraced it a little bit more. A lot of the togs will know that I do a photography brief at the start of the day. And one of the things that I said to people is, with regards to lighting, just base it around the theory that less is more. There is a lot of ambient lighting in the backgrounds. So to get the best from it, you only need a small amount of light on your subject in key areas to create the shot. Don't be afraid to bump up your ISO. Shoot wide open on your lenses. Bring the shutter speed down a little bit. One of the things I said to a lot of people is try not to use flash. If you've got LEDs, use LEDs. Flash is a little bit too bright and you lose a lot of the ambient light. And a lot of people came to me during the day and said, thank you for saying that, because I leaned into it and it really helped me. I think some people still struggled a bit. I think if we were going to do the venue again, I'd perhaps put together a little bit of a tutorial just to help guide people. But some of the variations of cosplays I saw throughout the weekend were fantastic. I didn't get to shoot as much as I would normally like because director, busy. I was also going into Magna having not really shot at an event since early December. I've only done one shoot since then, and that was the sports animal shoot. Because I had to drop out of the two MegaCon events because of my back. So yeah, I wasn't as ready creatively as I would have liked. That said, I still came away with some fantastic images. The stuff I shot with Troy in his male mystique, feeling a bit bummed up, I swear I'm coming out of the lurgy.
I think everyone is.
Yeah, some of those shots are just spectacular. And the stuff I did towards the end of Sunday with Annie and Michelle, the Matrix, still only a very small way through editing those, but yeah, fantastic. And also the stuff I did with Kim, Zero May Cosplay, her Gantz cosplay, her and Tom's Gantz cosplay, and her Gundam was just absolutely out of this world. So I really enjoyed myself. It was great catching up with friends. We did have the podcast there, but we didn't do anything because we were too busy.
It just
which is a shame. We kind of missed an opportunity there, but I would have loved to do it, and I think we probably will take it to June, but I think we'll do it a little bit differently. Probably maybe stick to interviews. I think
we'll probably also the build up for it as well. I think it was a learning curve for us being there. Obviously, one for you being
to an event.
I think, you being a director, me being a photographer there, and obviously supporting where I could in other areas. I think going in June, we'll look at it a bit different, and maybe we'll sit down and actually put a schedule together.
Make a plan, do some set interviews. Get people to message in, and we'll pre-arrange the interviews. Maybe leave a couple of slots blank on each of the days. And we'll just keep it down.
If anyone's been looking at the stories of SecretCon regarding the June, asking questions about the venue and bits and pieces like that, informational pieces, you might have noticed a really random comment that was placed on the stories of essentially saying, "Is Lolly bringing a picnic?" Darren will know what I mean. I can't say for sure, but I think that was me that put that comment in. Maybe.
I think it might have been.
Maybe. So the lead on to a little bit of a conversation me and Darren had today is like, do we actually set up an area that we have a picnic, but we do podcast stuff?
Yeah, let's do picnic.
Like a friendly picnic podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Area. So maybe we'll have to recruit Lolly in, and she can be a caterer for the podcast for June. I'm sure she'll be down for it. She loves a good picnic, and she loves us as well. So why not? But yeah, I think going in all jokes aside, we'll probably come into June a little bit more scheduled than anything. I mean, I think we're not very scheduled when it comes around to shooting at cons, because schedules get blown out the water so often that it becomes pointless. I think for the podcast, I think if we schedule timings, I think we'll stick with them and do something there. I think June's going to be a fantastic venue. It's going to be a good time of year. I'm just saying, it's the best time of the year. I mean, I'm turning another year older at the end of the event, so they need to stop putting events on around my birthday. That's all I can say.
I mean, I'm not generally much of a fantasy shooter.
I'm looking forward to that.
But at the same time, I am going to pick Mattia in Switzerland the weekend before.
So I was practicing.
Which is very much fantasy based, and I am thoroughly looking forward to that. So I think by the time I come back, I will be thoroughly in my fantasy vibe. So hopefully I'll be able to lean really heavily into enjoying that. I'm sure I will. The venue is stunning.
It looks stunning from what I've seen, and you know what? There's a few cosplayers I haven't seen for a while who definitely sit within the fantasy genre a lot more, and I'm excited to see them and catch up.
As well, it's our first proper fantasy event. Obviously, Keel is a little bit leaning into that vibe, so we wanted to do this, so that we can bring in some of the people that may not have felt that
it's been suited for them,
fit their style, their cosplays. So. Yeah, looking forward to it.
To be fair, this is a very open looking at it, because I was like, for you guys, I have not been to the venue. I am not part of SecretCon as much as you lot think I am. I am not. I just am friends with Darren and some of the other members as well. But obviously, Darren's probably been to the venue and seen it and been around it.
Actually,
oh, have you not? Okay.
No.
So here you go. Right. So looking at the images that we've seen through social media from the SecretCon team, they obviously planned this. They do an amazing job. They put in venues all the time, and we just come up with Magna. Like we said, massive big up to them for being able to pull that off and do that for this community and be able to bring this together. That said, we're moving on to June. It's the next one, the next big sort of SecretCon in the calendar. Now, it's different. I like it. It's going to be. I've not been there. I've not seen it, and I'm excited to see what we can do, but it's not going to be just fantasy from what I can tell. It's like you can pretty much bring quite a lot of different genres of different things, and it will work for all types of cosplayers from what I've seen. So I think it's going to be really quite fun looking at the wide mix
of
cosplay that we could see at this event. and going through. So obviously, I'm excited for June. It'll be a nice little road trip for me, about 4 hours, I think.
Where are you staying?
I haven't chosen yet. I'm thinking of might get an Airbnb. I go through booking.com and get an apartment like we did last time. But
Yeah,
I don't know where. There's some nice ones. I've seen some nice ones for not
yeah.
unreasonably priced.
We're in Chorley.
I was looking around Chorley as well. Yeah,
it's not too far away, and it's not the price premium of Preston. So yeah, we're in Chorley, and there's some nice places to eat and drink around Chorley as well. So because obviously there's no after party, so and because obviously this venue's in the middle of nowhere, there's no real central hub, so it won't be like a central meeting place like it was for the secret cons in the evening. So I think it'll be a little bit fragmented. But
with that said, though, you do have you have the Facebook group where if people obviously want to arrange to do meetups and stuff like that before the event or even after the event, you can put it out there. And if you want to socialize with people, then do it.
Totally.
Go for it. You have an option. I'll try and avoid my old work colleagues because my old sister site is up that way, so I'll try and avoid any of my old work colleagues. But with that said, with a bit of bias, they were the only ones up that end to actually say, "Oh, I hope you're okay." Anyway,
fair enough. Are you doing MegaCon Birmingham?
No, not doing MegaCon Birmingham.
No, at the moment I don't plan to. Mainly because obviously
I'm trying
Declan and myself are co-hosting another event that same weekend on the Saturday. Which is what
I'm waiting to find out about. Even though he says it's on.
We're co-hosting an event that's kind of like an adult, not safe for work, OnlyFans type creator day at Gloucester Prison. So that's going to be fun. And I think I'll be travelling back on the Sunday, so I probably won't do MegaCon Birmingham this time. Which is sad because it's like local for me. But, this is an event that myself and Declan wanted to do for a little while. And unfortunately, this was one of the only weekends that it was available around the time I wanted to do it. So we've had to sacrifice MegaCon Birmingham. So I think the next actual event for me will be Secret Con in June. So I'm away at the start of May on my cruise in Norway. So at the moment, no fixed plans to do MCM May either. I've not applied for a Creator Pass purely because I don't think I'm going to go. So I didn't want to apply for one and then not use it. So yeah, I think, which now leaves me thinking like, shit, what am I going to do between now and June? I need to shoot something.
So anyone got any ideas or want to shoot something pretty cool? Let Darren know.
I've got lots of plans for shoots this year.
And we'll get into plan. We'll jump in. Let's not jump the gun because we'll talk about plans in a second because I think we'll be there for a while. But what was I saying?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think for me, I'm at MCM. I got a Creator Pass. I am yet decided if I'm going for the full weekend. I will be there Friday night. Not at MCM, but I will be around in the evening of Friday night. I'm driving down to see people. As it stands, I will be there for the day of MCM on the Sunday. As it stands. Now, bits and pieces there. So I will be there at some point because I did apply for Creator Pass, and it's actually because of the Creator Pass I'm actually going. Normally, I wouldn't say it in that tone, like saying, just because I got a Creator Pass, I'm going. The reason why I say that I'm going because I got a Creator Pass is because at the time when I applied for the Creator Pass, I was still planning to go. If I got one or not. And then obviously a lot of stuff happened, and then I really put off going to mainstream cons.
I think it's probably important as well at this point just to mention to people, just to clear a few things up as to why we're kind of not doing many of the mainstream events. So obviously a lot of people know the general cosplay community kind of imploded over the last couple of months. A lot of things going on.
Feels like it's kind of going back that way a little bit from the start of the day.
there's still things bubbling under the surface, and it's kind of made me not want to attend events. And it, there is a disjoint, I think, at the moment between some of the cosplay community. But for me, it's not just that. This has been sort of building now for a little while, where I feel generally creatively as a photographer, I'm getting less and less out of the mainstream events and leaning more into photo cons like Secret Con and some others. Yeah. And also some of the European events and out of con shoots and group shoot projects, such as the stuff I've been working on with Spores. So for me, I think the drama, what's been cracking off over the last couple of months, has probably just given me that last little bit of a push. Because one of the things that stopped me from pulling back over the last 12 months or so was the FOMO, the fear of what I might miss if I don't go to a mainstream event. And this sort of drama has given me a little bit of a kick to sort of almost a jolt to go, to go, you know what? I don't actually need these events to make cool content. I do enough of that outside of events anyway. So why not take a little bit of a step back and focus my time, effort, and money on other things? So obviously Pick the Tier in June was always a plan. Again, I was still surprised I got accepted, and I'm extremely grateful to the organisers for allowing me the opportunity to attend. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, because I couldn't attend Volta due to my holiday. I'm also planning on applying for Focus Cosplay, which is in central France, not too far from Paris. That's in September. Not sure, have they announced applications yet?
Are we mentioning anything about San Diego? That is not San Diego?
Yeah, I will do in a second. So I'm hoping to apply to that one, which is PhotoCon. Applications are running from the start of April for that, for Focus Cosplay. Whether I'll get accepted or not, I don't know. Really looking forward to applying. If I get accepted, really looking forward to attending. I'm also planning a weekend trip to just outside Vienna at some point this year to shoot at Shutterverse Studios. They've recently sort of torn down their cyberpunk-esque style set and are currently in the middle of building more of a sort of Evangelion type set. So I'm looking forward to shooting there. For that, I've cast in recently on my stories, and I was absolutely blown away and overwhelmed by the response that I had from European cosplayers. Some of which I met at Volta, some of which I shot with, some of which I didn't, but just met to chat, and some of which have just sort of started seeing my work on Insta. So that was really great to see, and I'm really looking forward to heading over there for a weekend at some point. Just need to fix a date.
Yeah, need to let us know on that one, because I think that's what we were talking about, wasn't
it? I was toying with the idea of applying to Pixelmania this year, but I decided purely because of the lack of annual leave that I wasn't going to do that one this year. But then someone dropped in our Discord last week. San Diego Comic-Con, which you will all know, over in the US, have decided they're going to branch out. And they are launching a new con in Malaga in Spain. So instantly I was all over that. I was like, I'm really down for this. Looked into it. It looked like fun. They're still not announced many details yet. You can just pre-register for info. But already I booked accommodation for that. Yeah. I'm really, really down for that. I think with a name like that behind it,
I think that style of organization is
awesome. The venue looks awesome. It's just a con venue, but
it's a beautiful, also Malaga as well. What can you say? It's a big organization. San Diego Comic Con is the world's biggest Comic-Con.
Yeah,
That's where they do all the live announcements for all film, TV. So the fact that they're branching out
absolutely.
away from San Diego and going over to Europe, it's almost like a bit like Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah,
In a way.
And I dare I say it surely with a name like that, it can't fail.
Well, also the backing of that size as well,
It's got to be great. And I think it'd be a great place. Anyone from the UK wants that opportunity to meet and potentially shoot with some of the European cosplayers without having to apply and be accepted for a European photocon. I think this would be a great opportunity to network, to meet people. All of the European cosplayers that I've met through Volta and that I've spoke to since online are, just some of the nicest, most focused and creative people that I've met in cosplay. Nothing against the UK scene, but it's just a different. Just the way they work is different.
Here's a thought then. Based on the fact that you have a big name like San Diego Comic-Con, obviously it's not in San Diego, come into Europe, do you reckon there's something that the UK arm of conventions, so Reedpop, MCM, Monopoly, MegaCon, could learn from potentially the likes of the way the fact that San Diego is popping over and it is a big deal? Do you reckon there's something they could learn potentially? Because when we look at it from I don't always bring it to a financial point of view, but from a financial point of view, it almost feels like going to this con is more financially feasible for the one in the UK than going to London for the full weekend, and it's also a longer con.
Absolutely. So, I think for me, I feel that mainstream UK cons have stagnated a little bit. I'm not seeing anything new, with the exception maybe of MegaCon that are doing some great little sort of innovative things. I think, I'm just looking at booking.com now for the apartment that I booked in Malaga. Anyone that's ever stayed with me in apartments for cons will know that I'm not a bit of a snob, but I am a bit of a snob in that I like my nice, comfortable places. I like my space.
He also likes very tiny stairs.
With my, I don't, I have to be careful with my back with hotels, sort of just sitting and chilling on bed. So I like a nice sofa. So I generally book apartments. So I booked an apartment in Malaga that sleeps, I think it sleeps 6. Yeah, 6. With a balcony, absolutely stunning place. 3 bedroom for £888. And that's from, what the dates that I booked? That's from Wednesday to Monday for 6 people.
Mm.
You just wouldn't get that for MCM London.
So what was the rough pricing for when you did MCM October? Roughly, for the apartment that you had then. How many stayed with you then?
That apartment that Declan booked was over £2,000.
And that was what?
Similar
Thursday?
sort of size.
But for
Thursday
this time,
night to Monday.
Yeah.
So this is an extra night in Malaga for about just over a third of the cost.
And also, I think I looked at flights the other day when Darren mentioned this to me, and I think I averaged around so I looked at it for 2 people. For 2 people, it was just over about 210 quid, roughly. And that was return flights with EasyJet, flying out of London over to Malaga. I think it worked out to about £107 per person, something like that. Something ridiculous. But yet still getting a flight and accommodation over there, it still works out to be cheaper than London.
I have just realised something, though.
Yes.
Live on Cosplay. It does clash with Focus.
So what we can do is, what you're saying is, you can go to Focus for a few days and then meet us in Malaga.
Damn. But actually, not just from my perspective. Obviously, I've got a decision to make whether which one I'm going to do, but also from the perspective of quite a lot of the talented photographers and cosplayers. Will this, in particular, because San Diego have announced this now?
Do you reckon then
applications for Focus don't open till April? Will this put people off applying to Focus,
or will Focus do what similar to what you guys did and reschedule the timing?
Yeah, I don't know. Or will people still apply to that, and there'll be a lack of high quality cosplayers and photographers?
But I suppose it depends on how many cosplayers and photographers get accepted in the Focus, though. That would be the thing. Is that if they're limited?
Well, I think it might attract people from a different part of Europe, because obviously Paris and Malaga are a good distance apart, and a lot of the cosplayers I generally meet and speak to that go to things like Volta, Focus, even Pixelmania, Picmatia, seem to be from the sort of France, Germany, Italy, Austria kind of side of Europe.
But we are talking San Diego Comic-Con.
And we're talking here sort of Malaga, which is, let's have a look in terms. I mean,
so it's on the southeast coast of Spain.
Southern Spain.
Yeah.
So, you are talking probably the other side, completely the other side of Europe. So it may attract a different type of cosplay. You may even get people from.
I think the underestimating of the. I think the name does sway.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. It's one that
it will be.
When they announced it, I didn't think to check the dates against Focus. For some reason, I had it in my mind that it was like mid-September. But
I suppose it also depends on how are they going to run it. Are they going to be running it like San Diego does, where you have the big announcements that are going to be dropping? Are they going to be doing what San Diego is known for? Are they going to be doing?
I think so.
That big stuff. Are we going to have a San Diego this year? And is it going to be San Diego?
They've got a winning formula for their events, and I think they'll use a lot of that. Obviously, they'll need to make some changes because the way Europe does things is different. But I see this as a huge event in the US, recognizing just how much cosplay in Europe, sort of Spain, France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Hungary, etc., is just booming with quality at the moment. And this is them going, right, let's do an event. So it will be really interesting to see this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing more details drop.
Yes.
I think this will then tie us into, obviously, we're talking about cons. Obviously, we're talking about stepping back from conventional cons, not because of issues, but we've been looking at it for a while.
Just because I just want to move into
doing other things.
I want to try other things.
So that ties us into the other things, like, projects, and outside of con bits and pieces that we have been talking about in the background. We've hinted at slightly in social media posts. Obviously, there are projects that both me and Darren are working on together. There's projects that we're working on separately. But with that said, we announced last year that we wanted to do a themed event. We wanted to do an Arcane event. League of Legends Arcane.
League of Legends, yeah.
Yes. So we originally announced this last year, and then we did say and Darren put a poll out of like, when was the best time of year that people would think that they would want to attend this event. So we settled with June, July. Now, we're having to delay it out from June, July because
just a lot going on.
There's a lot going on in that month with Secret Con and other events. Also the time of year. So what we're looking at doing is we're potentially pushing it out to the more sort of,
for October, maybe
September, October time. It will depend on confirmation back from the venue that we're trying to get. I I don't know if we announced the venue or we keeping that hush.
I think
Well,
I
sure.
think we can say that it's a large popular venue in Gloucester. I think we can say anyone that's been to Secret Con
I think,
will know
yes.
this
But the
venue.
fact that he's just at a large venue in Gloucester and people who go to Secret Con, you will exactly know where we are on about.
So yeah,
So yeah, that's where we're looking at hosting. We are waiting for confirmation on dates and availability and whatnot for this
yeah.
event.
Once we've confirmed, we'll obviously put info out, and we'll announce when tickets are going to go on sale for it. We will, as we've said before, try and keep ticket prices as low as we can, but we still have a venue to pay for, and there's a lot of time and effort and costs got to go into it from our side as well. So, just bear that in mind when we do put.
Because at the moment, yeah, the team for this project is coming under the Cosplay Togs brand. Yeah, at the moment, it's just the two of us that are managing it, and we will probably at some point most likely seek some support from volunteers and whatnot. We'll reiterate, it is separate to Secret Con. Let's just say that.
Yeah, this is going to be run by this is not a Secret Con event. Just to be clear, this is a Cosplay Togs and all things nerdy themed event, if you like. Group shoot, whatever you want to call it.
So it is League of Legends / Arcane. Obviously, Arcane comes under the League of Legends branding.
Absolutely.
As you know, we love League of Legends and we love that style and format of things. And there's a lot of talented cosplayers out there. And if you are from Europe, anywhere outside of the UK, and you also wish to attend, by all means, you are welcome.
Well, this was kind of leading me into another thing I was going to say. Another reason for putting it back to later in the year was because I've already had some interest from European cosplayers. And obviously Pigmateer is in June as well. I've already made some amazing new contacts for that event, so I wanted to push it back till after then to try and work on getting it out there to more European cosplayers and photographers to hopefully get some of those guys over as well. I think it would bring a fantastic opportunity to cosplayers in the UK to be able to shoot with some of the European photographers and vice versa. Even if it's only one or two, it would just be fantastic to get that mixed. The more people can connect and network with people over in Europe and the same for them with here, I think the closer we can sort of bring that gap and share ideas and concepts, I think that'll be really good for the cosplay industry.
Also, I think it'll be some good stuff. Also, learning from the fact that at the moment, obviously, Darren has done Volta in the past. He's now also applying for the other ones around Europe. I will also be applying. I originally was going to apply for 2025. I have decided I'm going to leave mine until 2026, and I will get into the reasons behind that shortly. But it's to go back into the point that we're trying to make here is it's a good opportunity to expand our small cosplay community that's UK based and make it more networks within Europe and entice a lot more Europeans to come over. But then also it might also support UK cosplayers and UK photographers to go over to Europe and check out other events. There is more than just the UK ones. We have talked massively on UK cons, but obviously there are a lot in Europe as well. So yes, we are going to be releasing more.
The events over there and the people are so friendly and welcoming as well. They do work slightly differently, so you just have to get used to some of the little changes there. But it's just a fantastic community, and I think just getting some networking between the two. I'm only just starting to really realise how cheap it is to just fly over there and do an event, or fly over there and spend a weekend and do a shoot. When we fly over and do the studio shoot at Shutterverse, we're planning on going over there for a long weekend and doing a full day shoot in the studio with multiple cosplayers, probably 4 or 5 cosplayers throughout the day, making a full day of it. And it'll cost less than going to a mainstream economy UK with hotel, even with flights and apartments and everything. So, it's not that expensive to do. It's definitely worth doing if you get the chance. And this is another thing that I think Malaga will bring to the table for people in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to do a quick plug in regards to League of Legends / Arcane. She doesn't know I'm going to do this, but Uncanny Annie in the cosplay community in the UK, she is massive advocate for. I don't think advocate's the right word, but she is a massive Arcane League of Legends fan. And she has, if you've ever seen her work, she makes a lot of her own stuff, especially for her Arcane characters, and it is stunning. It's absolutely incredible. The attention to detail is just outstanding. So the reason I mentioning Annie, Uncanny Annie, is she is starting to set up her own Etsy store focused around cosplay and props for League of Legends Arcane. Now, it isn't out yet. It is something that she is working on. If you've seen her social media of late, she has been creating some really cool stuff for her Jinx that's going to be coming up and debuting in MegaCon Birmingham in a few weeks. Yes, next week. So she's done a lot of work on that and it looks incredible. And she is going to potentially set up her own store to make Arcane props. So if you're looking for Arcane props and stuff like that, please do give her a shout. Her stuff is incredible, and she'll be there with a smile and a hyperactive energy as always, and she is 100% brilliant. So that's
Project Zen.
Yes. Projects. Which project? Which project do we want?
Let's try and fit this into 30 minutes because we've already been going for an hour and a half, and we said we wanted to do this in an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So for me, I always start off the year with a massive list of projects. That always completely goes to shit. But there are a few that I'm working on at the moment. Some that we're working on, some that I'm working on, that are sort of going to be definite must-happens. So a project that I started working on in my head, probably going back 18 months, 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, was based around the film Promising Young Woman. So it was after watching the film, I had some cool shoot ideas around this to sort of base a shoot project and kind of link it in with the cosplay community around the whole safety aspects. And I was speaking to a particular cosplayer about it who at the time I thought would be fantastic for it. And she also had her own ideas. We had very, very similar trains of thought. We wanted the shoot to really portray a message. Unfortunately, this cosplayer has sort of not drifted out of the community, but life and all the rest of it. But with everything that's been going on recently in the community around issues of safety and concern, it sparked off new ideas for me to revamp the shoot, really. So I reached out to the cosplayer again, and we got chatting. She's very much up for it. Also, a good friend of mine who I've spoken about before, Shalimar Stuff. Some of you may have shot with him already. He's, like myself, very cinematic. He's another anamorphic lens shooter. Which, again, as I've spoken about, it's quite rare for stills in the UK.
Was it 2 of you so far, roughly?
2 of us so far, soon to be 3, hopefully. 3. And his ideas, both planning pre-shoot and during shoots, are always fantastic. He's a great guy to work with, really, really inspiring. So we've been chatting as well, and we've started to formulate a plan for this shoot. It is going to be based around sort of like building a short story through images. But we're also going to bring on board a videographer as well. We have a guy in mind. I'm going to reach out to him in the coming days. The cosplayer has just been going through a house move, so a little bit of a delay in the planning, but we are going to get this done and get this underway. And we've got some really, really cool ideas. Very, very similar to what I was talking about what I like in some movies and TV shows, very sort of psychological and sort of make you think, and sort of have like a very sort of mental theme behind it, but also with regards to issues around safety in the cosplay community. But we're not doing this for likes. We're not doing it to be popular. We're not doing it so we can get engagement on social media. I mean, you all know engagement on social media is shit at the minute anyway. We're doing it. We're passionate about this project, and we want it to be cinematic. We want it to tell a story. We want it to portray a message. And I think it'll be really cool. It's one that I'm quite passionate about. So yeah, looking forward to that. Another one is I'm trying to get this off the ground for a while. It's a joint shoot between myself and Carlos Adama, with Troy, Captain Tempest, who you all know, big friend of the show, which is based around the Ryan Gosling movie Drive. So we're going to be hopefully pulling that one off at some point this year. Still some planning to do around that, but hopefully we'll pull that off. Another one with Troy.
There's going to be a theme here, I think.
Yeah, Troy's fast turning into my muse.
Dance monkey dance.
Yeah.
Or pose monkey pose.
You all know I'm a Blade Runner fan, especially OG Blade Runner, and I've wanted to do a shoot around that for a while. So myself and Troy are going to be, I just need to sort out dates at Tank Space. We're going to be doing a scene based around the Blade Runner Roy Batty Tears in Rain section of the movie at the end. So yeah, that's going to be, I'm going to be like putting everything into that shoot. My heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears. Probably wreck some gear in the rain room. Fuck it, who cares? Yeah, so that's going to probably be my big shoot of the year, sort of mentally, creatively. I'm looking to invest in another anamorphic Sue-Ray lens at some point soon. So, yeah, more money. But yeah, really looking forward to that. Couple of little smaller projects, I think, going on in the background. But yeah, they're my main ones, I think, for my personal projects anyway.
Yeah. I think so. Personal projects, I've got loads of them on. Little Miss Anakin's and myself have a smoke project that we've been talking about for quite some time. We just need to find the right conditions for said shoot. You would have seen some of the stuff that we've already been working on anyway, because back at MegaCon, she debuted her Femme Ghost. So we're doing
that was really cool.
Yeah, a smoke shoot in regards to her Femme Ghost. There's some planning, bits and pieces that we've been talking about. We're just waiting for the right weather conditions really now to do it, and some availability for me and her to meet up. Seems like whenever I'm free, she's scheduled, and whenever I'm scheduled, she's free.
Oh, all right.
So we're trying to work out. So that's one that's been going on since last year, but we were waiting for her to finish it. And she's also working on an amazing 40K project at the moment, which is also...
Yeah, I've seen that one tonight, an update on that. It looks spectacular.
Yeah. I'm muted. Okay.
You pulled out and now you're back.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Okay. I think I hit my mic and it went fuck off. So there's that one with Annie. I'm also working on a few other projects, which is... Am I bugged?
You're very quiet at the moment.
I think I bugged out again. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. As long as you can hear me, it's fine.
You're just very quiet.
Should be alright. Anyway,
That's better.
I'm working on other stuff in regards to sort of mix between sexy and other bits and pieces. It's going to be a studio day. I've titled it for now. Working title is Boss Bitches.
Nice.
There will be some more bits and pieces coming up for that eventually, but that's in the planning stage. That's kind of it from sort of a low-key, smaller projects. I've got an event coming up in April that I'm working on, which is an event I went to back in the start of February. I'm on a second take of that. It's a spicy secret con, essentially, is the best way of explaining it. Same people I worked with last time. So that's going to be very exciting. I'll work with some models again I worked with last time. And whatnot. But I think one of the biggest projects I'm working on is again, it involves Troy as per standards.
Isn't it always?
From a project point of view, and obviously Darren's involved with us as well. It's got about 13, 14 members allocated to the project and slowly growing.
It's growing, yeah, definitely.
So I can divulge a little bit about this project. I think it's up to me if I divulge however much I want, because it's kind of been my little baby so far.
It was your baby, yeah.
So working title for this project is Devil's Domain. Well, has two titles: Into the Devil's Domain or Devil's Domain. I kind of like Devil's Domain. It's hard,
sure,
it's nicely. Concept behind this is pretty much in the title: Daredevil and his kind of domain of things, but going multiversal in this. The concept behind this is we want to shoot this through anamorphic lenses. Or from a cinematics formula standpoint. So very similar to how Born Again is. And if you have listened all the way through, you would have said how from the Born Again bits and pieces with the cinematic styling that they had is we basically want to try and recreate that cinematic feel through anamorphic lenses to capture a story. So the concept behind this is we're going to create comic book told by still images in a cinematic format. We're going to essentially try and tell a story as much as we can through the multiple amounts of characters and the multiversal thing. So the working idea and the working concept is what if. So Marvel's What If is kind of behind the to tell the story of the individual characters, to then bring why all these individual characters come together, but we want to piece it together in such a way that it tells a story without having to say words. So like the old saying, a picture paints 1,000 words. So how do we tell a story in this format? We'll let you know. This is something that we're going to work on. It's not going to be a small project, and we're going to try and aim for a release of this project around season 2 of Born Again. So there's a lot of planning left to be done. At the moment, we've kind of planned characters, and I think more which Earth certain characters come from. And I think there's still some characters that we still need to recruit certain cosplayers into. But it's a big challenge. We've also got a videographer on board as well to try and recreate some of the scenes from like Born Again, and ideally any sort of cinematic points of view. We have also someone else to support with directing and producing elements, especially from the video format inside of it, to try and capture that essence of Daredevil cinematic movie-esque type, small trailer-esque style things. So, by all means, this is not
things. I think the whole the Promising Young Woman thing that I'm working on, that's also going to be very cinematic, largely shot on anamorphic, very similar to the original movie that was shot, I think, largely on Panasonic anamorphic lenses. Obviously,
A 35mm as well.
yeah, I favour the Sirui lenses, and I think that's generally, a lot of people that know me know that I generally tend to have a very cinematic style, and I'm really leaning. I'm enjoying that element of my work more and more. The more I lean into it, the more I'm enjoying it. Whether it's full-on cinematic shooting, or helping out and or arranging lighting setups, like a lot of what I did with the recent Spores Hannibal project. I did some shooting, but a lot of what I did there over that weekend was arranging and setting up all the lighting for the videographers. So more of a sort of cinematographer role, if you like, and I'm leaning more and more into that this year because I'm finally deciding to embrace what I love. So most of the things I'll be shooting this year will be, away from events, will be very, very cinematic projects. It'd be great if I know I had some engagement with Sirui recently.
We'll be reaching out to them for projects.
Asked me if I want to sort of look at joining their affiliate program, but yeah, we will be reaching out hopefully to Sirui to see, I don't know, if they want to lend us some lenses for this project. Quite happy. Be nice.
I'm going to be renting one because I can't quite yet afford to buy one. They're not as expensive.
There are a few places you can rent from, quite cheaply, to be fair.
So,
but yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm also looking to mention it before, put out a bit of a story a little while ago now about some cyberpunk group shoots, and I had a huge, overwhelming response to that. So I will be putting those together, but I'm also going to be putting together some, I won't say cinematic lighting workshops, I'm just going to say lighting workshops at some point throughout the year. That's something I get asked for a lot. It's certainly a big area of my own expertise. But I'm also going to put on a cyberpunk lighting workshop as well. Again, that's something that I really enjoy, something that always goes down well, and people ask me, how have you done this? I really love to learn how to do that. So that's something else I'll be putting together at some point this year once I can figure out kind of like where to slot it into my calendar. That's the biggest challenge for me at the moment this year, is I don't feel like I'm doing an awful lot of events in the UK, but I'm still feeling that with everything that I am doing, I'm struggling to fit things into my schedule. But
yeah, I think I think both of us would say basically, in short, as much as we're not doing many mainstream cons, we're taking the networks and stuff that the people from this industry or this community, and trying to work out other creative ways of working, to do something different, tell a new narrative, to make something special in some ways, and kind of break the mold of con shooting and try to do something a bit different.
The other thing as well, for con shooting, times are hard for people financially. People can't afford to keep doing con after con after con. Hotel prices, travel prices are all through the roof. So a lot of people, not just ourselves, are trying to find ways to work creatively outside of mainstream events. So there's a lot of projects that people are working on at the minute, little mini group shoots and shoot projects and shoot days, and there's all kinds of things going on in the community at the minute that's really exciting to see. Some of which people are asking me to be involved in, some of which I'm just seeing happening and really excited to see results. So yeah, I don't think it's just us that's sort of stepping back a little bit from mainstream events. A lot of people are doing that this year, for various reasons, money being one, creativity is another. I'm really excited for where this year's going to go in that respect.
I think to add to that as well, if you're a cosplayer out there and you have an idea of something that you think could work as a good little project, and you have okay, you might have a photographer in mind because their style works for that project. Reach out to them, pitch them the idea, see if they're interested in taking part in a project. And I'm not trying to take away from a Comic-Con experience or a mainstream con experience, but if there's something you want to potentially engage in and do something, maybe if you have an idea and reach out to someone who you think
absolutely
that style of work really works for what I'm thinking of, and come up with a project. You know, you have if you ask, then you'll be surprised at what is said. And if you can pitch a really good idea, then you never know what could happen.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, someone else is doing some really exciting stuff at the minute is Dean True North. I went to one of his sort of cinematic portrait workshops down in London a couple of weeks ago. I was down there for the photography show, doing a bit of shopping, speaking to some brands. But Dean was running his cinematic workshop on the Saturday evening around London. Really, really great evening. It was really nice for me to sort of get out and play around with my anamorphic lens in a different style and setting. Some fantastic models. I got some really, really interesting imagery, got to experiment with it in a way that I wanted to for a little while and haven't had the opportunity. So that was great. And I know I think he's putting on a fantasy one at some point this year.
He's got a fantasy one, and I think he's also doing another city one again.
Yeah.
I was speaking with him about it as well.
Then if you're a photographer that just wants to sort of try a few new things, check out Dean's profile, True North, on socials. Great guy, lovely guy to work with. He runs some really great events, just small. There's only like half a dozen, maybe a few, like 6 or 8 of us on this one, plus the models and Dean. Really, really great fun.
Such a lovely guy as well. Puts his work.
Yeah, and some of the results I've seen from other people on that evening as well were just fantastic. So
I had massive FOMO from that one. I definitely wanted to attend, but I couldn't. But I'm hoping to get on one later in this year. The next time he does a nice see one again, I'm definitely in for it. Check out True North. It's definitely worth having a look at. He's got a fantasy one. I think he's also doing a woodland and private escape or something. I can't remember. I saw something on his stories where
he announced one different... a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I think it was on his stories.
Yeah.
I can't see at the minute. My internet's not working very well.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments anyway.
It's so a lot of people in the industry, as well as ourselves, working on some great projects. So I think just exciting times for the community in a different way. Things are moving in a different direction, I think, for quite a lot of people, and that's really good to see.
I suppose we're going to kind of come close to a wrap-up point here. But we probably want to just quickly mention that obviously we've taken a bit of a hiatus off the podcast since before Magna. We're now sort of on the back, coming back to trying regular scheduled programming, shall we say. And then, so what we're going to try and do is obviously we're going to try and get some more of the stuff and structured episodes back out again, as well as doing episodes like we're doing now, where it's just us waffling on for 2 hours. But what we will have a sit down and we will have a look at what we have upcoming in our plans and move forward. But yeah, we have got a long list of topics, some really exciting stuff. Can't wait to start bringing some of them to you. We've also got some episodes that we're going to be shooting on locations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We just need to confirm dates again for that one and bits and pieces. So yeah, there's some exciting stuff coming. There's going to be potentially some tutorial style stuff, some learning stuff, some help. Yeah,
and some smaller ones as well. We're going to be doing some product reviews throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that'd be good.
I'm sure if Sure wants to lend us any lenses, I'm sure we will product review them. Nice. Just putting that out in the atmosphere.
I'm going to be doing a review on my new Timber camera bag at some point over the next few weeks.
Well, should I deliver you? Should I come up and
Dogs
give you? Should I bring you up my bag as well, and you can do my bag review at the same time?
Yeah, we could do. So yeah, I picked up a new camera bag at the show. Been a big fan of timber bags for many years now, and needed a new backpack. So picked one up at the show, and it is just, yeah, it's amazing. Took it out with me on the True North photo walk, and it's so comfortable. Bags of room in it. So yeah, I can't wait to do a full review of that. I'm also now a timber affiliate as well. So yeah, I'll be launching my shop links for people to use if they want to buy any timber or Shimoda bags, cases, products. That'd be cool.
Tell me that.
Hopefully,
And we'll save some money on my
hopefully
bag.
doing a review. There's some new Godox stuff coming out as well that I'm gonna reach out to Godox to see if I can get my hands on some.
They got the LED system coming out, haven't they? Or the new LED
Well,
system.
they have. They got a 100-watt RGB light coming out, which is based on the ML 100 that was released a little while ago. It's a really small sort of square light, fantastic system. Really interested to see that one. I'm also a Godox affiliate now as well, which is, I'll put some links to that up at some point. Again, if people want to buy stuff, use my link. That'd be cool. And yeah, I think we're coming to a close. We'll be putting some stuff up in the coming weeks about what our next episode is going to be. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that is about it for our waffling for this week.
Yes, or this month, or
So,
however we want to do it.
Thank you to everyone for listening. If you're still with us at this point in the show, it is much appreciated. I don't envy you listening to us waffle on for 2 hours sometimes. So, yeah, thank you very much. If, as always, if you've got any questions, anything you would like to ask us, anything you think might be nice to feature on the show, feel free to reach out to us on our socials, Cosplay Talks and All Things Nerdy on most platforms. Feel free to check out some of our previous episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, etc., all available via our link tree on our Instagram. So I've been iPhoto UK, along with my amazing co-host Switch_GN, and we will see you all very, very soon.
Bye for now.